Welcome to Lenworth, the Lonestar's Country Radio Review. Now that more Black Americans, Canadians, Caribbeans, and South Americans are embracing our legacies of our past, many of us are opening up to country and Western stories in music, books, television, and films. Now, I've seen many Westerns and country music concerts in my day, but I haven't seen every country or Western show on this list. But I plan on seeing all these titles, and I want to share these gems with you. If you're looking for some country and Western films and TV shows featuring prominent Black characters and storylines, I got you. Here's a list of 10 Black country Western movies and TV shows released so far in the 2020s. The Harder They Fall. Most people by now are likely aware of the cult classic and critically acclaimed Netflix original movie, The Harder They Fall, an all-Black Western with a star-studded cast. In The Harder They Fall, which was released in 2021, the movie is set in the late 1800s when Black people are free, but struggling to make all Black towns prosper. And some of the most famous Black cowboys in history all come together to make a new utopia for Black people in the West. The heroes of the story, including names like Nat Love, Stagecoach Mary, Bass Reeves, Cherokee Bill, and Bill Pickett, are all real Black cowboys that are fictionally depicted in this movie, but finally getting more recognition as Western characters in this movie. The action, comedy, cinematography, and acting in this film is top tier, and so is the soundtrack. As a Jamaican American, I love the influence and fusion of reggae, R&B, rap, and country all in one project, with contributions from Jamaica's Grammy Award-winning Original Coffee, Lauryn Hill, and Jay-Z. A lot of people don't realize that cowboy iconography is a subculture in Jamaica too, and that even the title of this film is a nod and continuation of the 1970s cowboy-inspired Jamaican action movie called The Harder They Come. Of course, there's a few romantic storylines in this film, but this film is also groundbreaking for having LGBT Black representation in the Westerns too. I think most people are unaware that there was a powerful trans or gender nonconforming character in the film called Cuffy, who was played by American actor Danielle Deadwyler. In the film, Cuffy clearly identifies with a masculine identity and plays a no-nonsense guard or doorman to a popular saloon, as well as a gunslinger later in the film. Cuffy is based on a real person, one Kathy Williams, who was born in 1844 and would become the first female to enlist in the U.S. Army. Sinners. I had the pleasure of seeing Sinners in theaters, and though it's not a typical Western film, it definitely is a country movie, and it is easily considered a new modern classic in the horror genre, breaking records and breathing life back into the struggling movie theater industry. Sinners is set back in 1932 in Mississippi, one of the most racist states in America. While we are first introduced to Sammy, or Preacher Boy, the son of a Black preacher who has a gift for singing and playing guitar, from the beginning of the movie, we are aware that something evil is lurking in the shadows. When Sammy's older twin cousins come back to town after gaining a hefty sum of money in Chicago, they have returned to their old hometown called Clarksdale to start up their own dance club and bar with all the liquor they have just acquired. But what many of the townspeople of Clarksdale, Mississippi don't know is that vampires have slowly taken over their town. There were so many great commentaries and metaphors on race in this movie and how the vampires, who are at first mostly Irish and white, have to be let into the homes and establishments of people who are still living. In the same way, Native Americans, Asian people, and Africans did with white settlers, and many regretted the decision to be open and welcoming to the invaders. I love that hoodoo, voodoo, and African spirituality was touched on in this film, as well as highlighting how many different cultures, including Asian, African, Irish, and Indigenous people, were present in the building of the modern America we know today. But even after the social concepts that are delivered in this film, the horror, action storyline, and even the music make Sinners a must-see. Concrete Cowboy. A very heartfelt and touching modern Western and cowboy movie is Concrete Cowboy, which was released in 2020, starring Hollywood icon Idris Elba and rising TV star Caleb McLaughlin. Now, Idris Elba is cementing himself as a cowboy on film because this wasn't his first of many cowboy roles, including The Harder They Fall. And most viewers likely recognize Caleb MacLachlan from his starring role in the hit sci-fi horror series Stranger Things, which is one of my favorite shows that I also think is very country and western coded in its own way. In Concrete Cowboy, we are taken into the inner cities of Philadelphia, where Caleb stars as Cole, a restless young teenager who seems to have no direction, feels disenfranchised, and is taking trouble as a new hobby. When his fed up mother sends him to live with his estranged father for the summer, the two butt heads, but eventually Cole begins to learn the value of work and direction by embracing his father's work as a concrete cowboy, working with horses, and finding community with other black cowboys in his town. Most times, what most young black men who are getting into trouble are really looking for is a focus for their talents and energy, and to be appreciated and have a sense of community. And riding horses and farming is a much better outlet for young black men than crime. Concrete Cowboys also highlighted the real black cowboy organizations in big cities throughout the US, like Houston, Texas, and the Compton Cowboys in Los Angeles. Outlaw Posse. Another new Western on my list to watch and review for this channel is Outlaw Posse, the long-awaited sequel to Mario Van Peebles' cult classic Western, Posse, which premiered in 1993. This film is a continuation of the original movie, where Mario Van Peebles directed and starred in this all-black Western as Jesse Lee. Jesse Lee is a Buffalo soldier turned outlaw who escapes Cuba and the U.S. military with a band of friends in order to bring stolen gold back to his black town, Freemanville, where his father, a community leader and preacher, was lynched by the Klan. In the original film, Jesse Lee has to hide a large treasure of gold that he won in a massive blowout, where he lost many of the members of his original posse and friend group. And now in the sequel, in 1908, he's come back from hiding in Mexico in order to find and claim that gold. But the race is on to get to the gold, because white boys are looking for the gold too. Jesse is reunited with his long-lost son, who is now grown and is looking to connect with his father and help him find the gold. But we also get great cameos from legends like Whoopi Goldberg as the real black historic frontierswoman and cowgirl, Stagecoach Mary, and appearances from Cedric the Entertainer. I can't wait to see this movie. Interview with the Vampire. Interview with the Vampire is a gothic horror novel turned into a movie and TV show where the readers and viewers follow the story of Louis, a 100-plus-year-old vampire who tells his tales of bloodlust and decadence to a skeptical journalist in modern times. Louis began life as a New Orleans aristocrat, but is eventually lured into the world of vampirism by the older, more seasoned vampire Lestat. The two travel the world together, drinking the blood of unsuspecting victims, but Louis ultimately feels guilty for his new way of life. I'm in love with the 1994 film adaptation starring Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, but I was only vaguely aware of the homoerotic energy and queer subtext that was in this film as a kid. Louis is now being played by black actor James Anderson, a British actor of Afro-Caribbean descent. Considering that much of the Interview with a Vampire is set in New Orleans, having a lead character who can represent Creole people is a great idea. Southern black gay men are also up in this show because much of this story takes place in New Orleans, and Louis has numerous love interests with other vampire men throughout the series. Gay dads are also getting a bit of shine in this series because also in the book and movie, Louis and Lestat also raise a child together, Claudia, a murderous little vampire who is only vaguely aware that as the years go by, she can never grow old. Kirsten Dunst is renowned for playing the hell out of this role in 1994, and now a new black actress, Bailey Bass, is playing the role. Murders aside, it's cute that even in fantasy and horror, queer black families are finally getting representation on screen, because families like this do exist. Lawman Bass Reeves. Now, even I'm learning as I put this list together, because though I love Westerns, especially Westerns that feature black people, women, people of color, and LGBT characters, I didn't know about Lawman Bass Reeves till recently, which is a shame because this series looks amazing. Lawman Bass Reeves is a relatively new TV show, which fictionalizes the story of a very real black U.S. Marshal who worked throughout the mid-1800s in states like Arkansas, Texas, and Oklahoma. The trailer alone looks incredibly realistic and well produced, and the series has over 80% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Bass Reeves was the first U.S. deputy marshal west of the Mississippi River, and this series depicts his family life as well as his work as an enforcer of the law. Reeves was born into slavery, but after the Civil War and the American slaves were eventually freed, the Ku Klux Klan became a secret organization hell-bent on stopping black progress. And it's clear that one of the many enemies of Bass Reeves in the series is the Klan, who surely hated that a black man had acquired that much power working in local government. Surrounded. Another Western that I can't believe has gone under my radar until this year is Surrounded, starring our Wakandan princess, British star actor Letitia Wright, as Mo Washington, an ex-Buffalo soldier named Mo Washington who travels west to lay claim to a gold mine disguised as a man after her stagecoach is ambushed by a group of murderous thieves. Mo is forced to hold legendary outlaw Tom Walsh captive while the remaining surviving passengers seek out help. The trailer for this film looks epic, and Letitia Wright is the perfect pick to play this cross-dressing cowgirl who is up against white enemies in the post-Civil War Wild West. It's clear that this film is entitled Surrounded because throughout the film, the only person Mo can count on is herself, as she becomes surrounded by white thieving hostiles. I also love that one of her co-stars in this film is Michael K. Williams, who has worked in numerous action and historic roles. Race seems to be an integral part of this movie because Mo seems to be outnumbered by the white men she is up against out on the American wilderness, but one of her captors, who she has to take with her on her journey, wants to support her claim for the gold mine. P-Valley. Now, P-Valley is not a Western, but it is a juicy country drama for Black country enthusiasts. P-Valley is set in the smaller, fictional town of the Mississippi Delta and surrounds the lives of ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary folk who work at the Pink, the popular local strip joint that employs the hottest women to entertain the townspeople of Chucalissa. If you don't know, strip clubs can be incredibly competitive amongst the dancers who want to earn as much money as they can, and eventually either go off to college or start their own businesses, like the lead dancer in this story, Miss Mississippi. The drama of P-Valley shows the real-life struggles of working-class women who want to make a way for themselves and their kids, but crime, gangsters, rappers, and prostitution are all intertwined into their lives. Besides the gorgeous women, I love that there is a lead gay character, Uncle Clifford, who dresses flamboyantly and femininely and owns and operates their own popular club, the Pink. Even though she can be hard on the women who work at this club, she knows how to get the women and to make the most bang for their buck. And I also love that Uncle Clifford has her own relationships with men that frequent the Pink, including the up-and-coming rapper like Lil Murda, who struggles with his own sexuality and the truth of the relationship throughout the series. Outlaw Johnny Black. Outlaw Johnny Black is the 2023 campy new Western that mixes action and gore with comedy. This movie features action star Michael Jai White and Disney princess Anika Noni Rose as outlaws who are out to bring down a notorious killer. White plays the title character Johnny Black, who wants to avenge the death of his father, but because he is a wanted man and has to pretend to be the town's preacher in order to stay under the radar to get his revenge. This film pays tribute to the blaxploitation action films of the 1970s, incorporating kung fu moves, comedy, and a 1970s funk-inspired soundtrack, and an all-star cast of actors. Johnny Black does a bad job of pretending to be a preacher, but he makes up for it by protecting the townspeople from the villains. I also couldn't help but notice that there were plenty of other stars and icons in this cast, including Erica Ash, Kim Whitley, and the iconic songstress Jill Scott. Lovecraft Country. One of my favorite shows to come from HBO has definitely got to be Lovecraft Country, a fantasy action horror series that seamlessly blended the world of magic and, oddly enough, the world of segregation and civil rights. Set in the racist and segregated inner streets of Chicago in the late 1950s, Lovecraft Country follows the Freeman family as they come to grips with family secrets in a hidden world of magic and human sacrifice. When his father goes missing, Korean war vet Atticus Freeman jumps headfirst into a mystery to find his father, and soon realizes his father hasn't been honest about their family's history. Atticus, his family, and friends realize the Freeman family are distantly related to a powerful and rich white family of occultists, and their rich new relatives need their blood to further their own dark magical agenda. This series does a great job of mixing real history with fantasy, as we are taken into scenes from the Korean War, Emmett Till's murder, and the Tulsa Massacre. But we also get our fair share of monsters, magical fight scenes, and car chases as well. Michael K. Williams does a bang-up job playing Montrose Freeman, Atticus' secretive and argumentative father, who also does his best to hide the world of magic and his own gay sexuality from his son and family. Throughout the series, we see Montrose not only hide the truth about the family's secrets and the truth of magic from his son, we also see that he isn't dealing with the abuse he endured from his own father. We are also introduced to Montrose's lover, Sammy, who owns a bar in town and struggles to deal with Montrose's short fuse